Nords are so serious about beards.
The lands of Skyrim are scoured in interesting quests that you can take on, and as the main character in this game, you can discover and learn a lot about what the world has to offer. You can also discover epic items of vast power and characters who you could only imagine from legends. However, today, our prime focus within this video is to rank all of the main quests in Skyrim, all 19 to be exact, across the 3 different acts of the game. You guys seem to love the other 2 ranking videos I created, whether you agreed or disagreed. Thank you for watching and supporting it, and because of all your support, I decided to make another one, and this one will have all of us ranking the main quests in Skyrim. And when I say all of us, I mean me in the video, but you guys in the comments, so please do let me know what your top 3 main quests are in Skyrim. I am very excited to let you guys know what I think and to see your reactions, because you really do show your reactions. Oh boy, you really like showing them. Yeah, well, this is my opinion, and I feel the need to let you all know that we all have different opinions on topics like this, so please take what I say as just my own opinion, and I hope that won't stunt your enjoyment. If you find yourself enjoying the video, please do consider leaving either a like if you agree with my list or a dislike if you disagree with the list, as all forms of ratings help me out. I should have a ranking playlist with the 3 ranking videos I've done, including the one on factions, the one on Daedric artifacts, and this one here on the main quests. I shall babble no more now though, my friends. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the ranking of the entire 19 quest roster of Skyrim's main questline. Enjoy, my friends. Without even having to think about it, Season Unending is my least favorite quest. Now, even if it's your first playthrough, your only means of replayability in this quest is who gets what pointless location and what good does it do? What in God's name is the Empire going to do with Riften? Fix crime? Ha! Yeah, no. This quest is a collective of monotonous, unskippable dialogue which drags on for over 15 minutes, and I wish I was joking. There are 6 objectives in this quest, and all of them contain talking, and I don't have an issue with world building or talking to interesting NPCs, and especially with this quest containing most of the big figures in one single room all together. My issue is that it's just really boring, and I really wish you could skip dialogue here. There isn't much to add other than this quest is very boring, tedious, and monotonous, and it was either this as the worst quest or what I put at number 18. Contrary to popular belief on me creating an argument video on why you should kill party snacks. Yes, I do indeed remember that video, guys, and I still stand by it. I do hate this quest because of what it represents, and that is the sheer amount of lacking freedom you have in Skyrim as a whole. This quest is marked as a main quest, but is optional too because the blades refuse to help you any further if you don't kill party snacks. Their reasoning for destroying him is weak and shallow, and there is a very high amount of hypocrisy in their statements, opening and closing. Killing Parthenax is easy for me because it's just a dragon and I don't really care because he did kill a bajillion people. But he's like the single most interesting entity in the entire game, so it feels like a sin to be honest. I'd like this quest if it spanned out deeper than what it is at its base, but honestly it kinda sucks. One of the only likable characters in the game is going to die, and that's because you're forced to murder them in simple-minded cold blood. But hey, what's another soul dragon to our collection, eh? Now please don't get me wrong, I like Esbern, but I don't think his character is as interesting to me as he is to everyone else. I always find trekking through the Ratway to be very linear and very simple. There is almost no variety to the area you traverse through, and whilst fighting the Thalmor is interesting and knowing they hunt you down this far is cool, it's not enough to make me want to do the quest. And waiting for that stupid door to open is just so boring, especially after the 40th time playing the game. It hurts my ginger soul. The quests I usually put at the bottom are the ones that usually stunt the pacing of the game. The main quest primarily for me, you will most likely have noticed that as a recurring theme so far and continuing in this video. I don't like not having the ability to quicken a storyline when I've already done it a bunch, so it's one of these things that Skyrim doesn't do very well sometimes that has me putting this on the list. You finally killed your first dragon. You reap your rewards from Jarl Balgruuf, and voila! You now have to trek all the way to Ivarstead and have to climb the 7,000 steps and then listen to all of the Greybeards speak like they aren't pretending to be Black Bolt. Their simple words will kill you, but thankfully Master Arengar wants to speak to you properly because at least one of them needs to be able to have a normal conversation with you. But most of this mission takes place over the progress line of you traveling, walking, riding a horse, climbing stairs. It's a very enjoyable experience where you will feel immersed the first time, and then by the 10th time, the only way to find yourself enjoying Skyrim is by turning it off and not playing it anymore. This quest has two objectives: speak to Alvor or Gerdur, and then go and talk to the Jarl of Whiterun. This is the first quest you were given after you escape Helgen for the first time. The reason I have it at number 15 is because it's the first quest that has you engage in this point to A to B activity that Skyrim usually has, and sets you out into the open world usually. It's a very simple concept, and it's a very simple one to remember how to do, and you probably all remember it very fondly, this quest I mean, due to two reasons, and that is how early it takes place in the storyline. That's pretty much the only reason I remember it, and also because it's whether or not you choose Ralof or Chad Hadvar, and obviously you're always going to pick Hadvar. You all know the right choices in situations like these, and I'm very proud of all of you that you'd be willing to agree with me on this. Thank you. This is one of the shortest quests in the main quest line, and yet I've managed to make it one of the longest paragraphs I wrote up in this script. That is a strange one indeed. Delphine. A truly well-written character with intuitive dialogue and progressive thoughts that definitely doesn't make you want to commit fall down and don't get back up again. This may seem strange that I have this quest ranked much lower than Dragon Rising, but I'll explain that later, don't worry. But this main quest has 4 objectives: talk to Delphi Dishes, locate a dragon burial site, kill the dragon and return to Delphi Dishes. That's it. You walk far, kill a dragon, which you've already done either once or multiple times at this point, and then fast travel back for completion. Like when you were playing the game straight through, you might not notice, but this quest is really short. Like, this is kind of pathetic, and you might say that it's okay for quests to be as long as they need to be, but newsflash, Ted, over half of Skyrim's main quest is this short. There are quests shorter than this one, like Before the Storm. This is a mission alone with her while also having such a low amount of interesting objectives to help keep you at a nice pace, and that's what puts it quite low down for me. The quest, The Fallen, has one of the most interesting obtainable awards in the main story of Skyrim and in Skyrim in general, and that is the ability to call down Odahviing, a dragon who will help you in battle if you call him into it. To obtain this shout, however, you need to capture him in this quest, and it's not very difficult to do. You just learn the shout, head to Dragon's Reach and call him. Use Dragon's Rend to make him land near you and then lure him towards the trap. It's very simple to achieve, and in return you will now have a way to travel to Skuldafn for the next main quest and be able to call out Odahviing whenever you want. It's a cool power, but again, by this point in the game, dragons will have most likely lost their special flair for a lot of people, and that's not an issue necessarily. You may just be used to the loop and still enjoy it, but the excitement is gone. But while I think the power is cool, it isn't enough to justify me putting this quest higher on the list, as I only find this quest okay, which is a lot better to say than all the quests prior to this, because if I'm honest, all the quests I've listed up until now are all the quests I find myself disliking the most. The Fallen onwards until I say otherwise are quests I find okay. Memes aside for this one, the moment you were done traversing on the carriage, this quest is honestly super fun. This quest is your introduction to the game, your first time in the lands of the Elder Scrolls V, and it's also the place containing your first real choice. Will you choose Ralof from the Stormcloaks or Hadvar from the Empire? It may seem like a blind choice, and quite frankly that's because it is kind of a blind choice, but it's still the first one. This quest is just nostalgic specialty, and let's be honest guys, you are running around the village being burnt to the ground after nearly having your head lobbed off for the shits and giggles of it, and now the literal world eater is trying to kill everyone in the village. It's pretty full of crack and scandal if I do say so myself, and sure look, if you find that that cat ride really does ruin the opening for you, then that probably means you have a different opinion, and that's perfectly okay. I diagnose you with self-values. I like Unbound. I hate the initial cat ride. It's a sad world we live in when we can all quote the intro to the game off by hand. Hi. This one is going to stir up a lot of you, and no, I am not just saying this for the crack. I really do think diplomatic immunity is just okay. Since the game first released, I have never found myself enjoying this quest a whole heap, and if I was to pick out certain parts I did enjoy, I enjoyed from the 6th objective, which is retrieving your gear, until the last. Now you may think I dislike dialogue or story or stuff like that, but I really don't, and I understand why this quest is so loved by people, and I respect it. But I just don't think the Thalmor are a very interesting enemy to fight, not as of now anyway. Bigots and racists are usually quite simple, and let's be honest guys, stupid and the Thalmor enemy type consists of a warrior and a mage. Seeing all the big characters show up at the party depending on your interactions prior to this quest are cool, and it for sure makes for some interesting observations, like watching someone walk from the corner of the room to another and then munch down an entire loaf of bread, but it's not enough to make me enjoy it. Ellenwyn is a cool character, but she's also just kind of a bitch, and she doesn't like sharing the crack. She's a wee party stomper if anything. This quest has a lot of details to it, and you can tell Bethesda enjoyed making this one, but I wish it was skippable through the power of 100 speech skill, but alas, it is not Mojera. I learned something from making this video, and that is the simple fact that I very much dislike most of Act 2 of Skyrim's main quest, and this quest isn't much different. Well, dislike is the wrong word, forgive me fellow gamers, I mean to say I also find number 10 to be okay. Alduin's Wall has you travel with Esbern to meet Delphi Dishes High, and then you have to head on over to Skyhaven Temple, gain entry, and then learn the secrets of Alduin's Wall. Now the wall itself is super cool, and this quest was full of lore implications that really help build onto the world, and for them reasons, it's why it's ranked at number 10. Meaning it's in my top 10 favorite Skyrim main quests. Look at that. 2 videos in one technically. I enjoy having the temple as a base for the blades, which you can make so much more interesting by doing the little quests with Esbern and Delphine, so you make it look like it's actually being lived in. And you can make Faendal an honorary blade, because why would you ever step within 2 feet of Sven? Pompous Nutseed is all he is. Yes, I did call him a Nutseed. What of it? Another Act 2 quest, and believe it or not, the final quest of Act 2. This quest is just like Season Unending. You end up stuck in a segment of unskippable dialogue that is so feckin' long, you could actually go and make dinner and clean up, come back, and they will still be talking. The thing that has it so much higher in the list for me is that I really like Alduin. I'm a bit of a fanboy if I'm honest with you, and even though he's just another dragon fight, you and Parthenax literally team up and fight him. And that's kind of really cool, so that's why it's here. But this quest has 3 objectives and only one of them are nice. Although I won't lie, one of my 3 favorite shouts in the game is in this quest, and that is Dragonrend. A shout that makes all of our lives in Skyrim so much easier. And I am a fan, I am a fan. Thank you, Dragonrend. I really enjoy when this game lets you go to dungeons, and you would think the main quest has more of them, but there is a surprisingly low amount of dungeon delving. Most of that comes in the form of guild quests, side quests, or just general exploring. I enjoy Skuldafn's dungeon. You find a plethora of dragons and high-level Draugr, and it really does feel like a place that would hold the portal to the sacred cosmic lands of Sovngarde. You also, if you haven't done much exploring prior to this, will face your first dragon priest, which will make you very sad, but very excited, because we do indeed love the old dragon priest masks. They have some very cool effects. Effects you would think would be in a skill tree almost, but nope, it's time for you to become the ultimate mask collector. That sounds like an interesting video idea actually. Ranking the dragon priest masks. You never know. The Epilogue is technically a quest, but is not marked in the quest log. Upon re-entering Skyrim after Alduin's defeat, you will have a really cool celebration from the dragons happen, where they fly around shouting at the top of the throat of the world. And it's really cool if I'm honest. The dragons having the almighty crack, you gotta love it. There will be new dialogue from a bunch of other people celebrating the defeat of Alduin, or at least giving insight into it, like the Greybeards or Odahviin. The bards will also sing a new song dedicated to you, the Dragonborn, and it's just such a nice little set of events to celebrate your slogging of the main questline. And I will in fact be the 19th and final person to tell you that this is the 19th and final quest in Skyrim's main quest. There really wasn't actually 18 other people who told you that. That was all in your head, guys. I apologize. But nonetheless, this was a celebration. Number 6 will be the end of the just okay quests, and then we'll be on to the top 5 quests in Skyrim. Main quests anyway, and let's start off number 6 by saying Sovngarde is so cool. It is 100% my favourite place to get thumbnails because of the sky, the big ancient bones in random places. The general atmosphere just makes it such a unique and magical location. Music also slaps, man, and this is where you indeed hold your final battle with Alduin. Alduin's death animation is still one of my favourite and most satisfying deaths to witness in a video game, with him exploding into 2 or 3 different different layers, and then just being whisked away as if you know anything about the Elder Scrolls. Because let's be honest guys, all of this stuff is way above our heads. But you also know that one day we will look back and see, oh shit, I remember we fought Alduin because there he is again in the Elder Scrolls 6 or the Elder Scrolls 9, because he's a god, and gods in the Elder Scrolls don't die that easily, or at all. You also visit the Hall of Valor, which holds a bunch of historical heroes and figures from the Elder Scrolls history, and it is a very insane thing to come across. You can meet Jurgen Windcaller, who owns the frickin' horn you collected in an earlier quest, and even Iskramor himself. How cool is that? Time for the top 5 main quests, and we're starting it off with Dragon Rising, one of the earliest quests in the game. Your introduction to dragons as a whole. Spoiler alert, you have to kill a lot of them, but we always remember our first. Marmalade, as I like to call them, a dragon who has been reaping havoc on Whiterun's playing fields and one we are trying to put a stop to once we head out. It is the first time we soak up some dragon souls, the first time we can do a shout, since we learned Unrelenting Force and Bleak Falls Barrow, and all in all, I like the quest. It's a great introduction quest. It's just a shame it's followed up with the longest walking simulator quest of all time right afterwards. But there isn't much to say, I just think it's cool. Now you may really be thinking why this is up here, but you must remember, this is my top 5, not yours. And Jurgen's dungeon is one of my favourite. You are finally into the nitty gritty of the game at this point, and your quest is to go and find an ancient horn deep in a very Nordic temple. And might I add, I really do think that final chamber screams some Chamber of Secrets vibes, and if you know, you know. I love dungeon diving. Maybe it's the secret and late love I have for Daggerfall for the amount of times I've played through it, or the amount of times I've spent doing it in Oblivion, but I really enjoy diving into dungeons, especially when I can just do them at my own pace. I don't mind on a first playthrough going at a developer's pace, but the accessibility to then go at my own pace from that moment onwards is something I very much want. If the option to skip QTEs are in most modern games, why can't I always skip cinematic scenarios at my own discretion? But yeah, you also get the strongest tier of Unrelenting Force from completing this quest, and we do stand Unrelenting Force. I love dungeons, and some of the main quest's strongest points in my own personal opinion are the dungeons. The final 3, or more specifically my final 3. If you've made it this far, thank you for taking the time to watch, and hopefully you don't hate me too much for all I've ranked. So we'll get this done. Elder Knowledge was one I really debated on where I wanted it, and not because I thought maybe it's not good, but because I feckin' love this quest and will never tire of it. In a world where everybody hates Dwemer dungeons, you were listening to a man who loves them. That mixed with lots of historic lore in the game, interesting subplots in the main quest itself, like the group getting killed and going insane down in Blackreach, finding the Crimson Urn request from Sindarian, an old hero you knew from Oblivion, just the sheer scale of Blackreach in general, and you can even find a dragon in it. This quest just offers the single coolest location in base game Skyrim, Blackreach, and its opposite runes. For a quest that contains only 4 objectives, they really went ham on the 4th objective, and making it a sprawling and complex system to enjoy. Everybody remembers Blackreach, and whether you remember it for good reasons or bad, we remember it. Mine, however, is for good. Also, if you aren't a big fan of it, just learn how to put yourself through the small gaps with a plate. It makes it so much nicer. Anyone who knows me knows my intense love for this dungeon, not only because it's the first dungeon you encounter within Skyrim, but also because of its size, because of its layout, the introduction to traps, Draugr, bats, master loot chests, word walls, hidden chests, bandits, and if you didn't go to Embershard Mine, this'll be your first place you see them. So much of the game's features in exploring are here. God, I really do love this dungeon. It is so much fun, and I've done it 3-digit times plus. I've done it so much, it's not even funny. But to this day, I don't have any sort of dread in doing it. I love it every single time I do. Stuff that is hidden high in mountains, although it's quite out there actually, so not very hidden, but stuff that is hidden in mountains like that are usually very cool to explore. But it is so feckin' cool, and I will never tolerate a Bleak Falls Barrow hater. Working with Heroes of Sovngarde, defeating the literal world eater, I get goosebumps when I defeat Alduin. I mentioned how much I find Alduin's death satisfying, and I really do. I am a dirty Christian boy when it comes to lore implications being done well in the game world, and especially at a high enough scale, and Alduin is the World Eater. His literal job is to consume the world. Not just in wording, that is his actual job, and you defeat him in Sovngarde, a cosmic and religious location for Heroes of Skyrim. Like, what the fuck? It's so cool. Your entire process up until this point was so basic, and now you are fighting gods with heroes from ancient times? You even have to dispel giant evil fog before it, and God, I love it. I love it, boys and girls. I love it. I thank you for getting to this point with me, because that is genuinely my favorite quest. I just think Dragonslayer is such a good end to the main quest line, and I always enjoy it. thank you for watching, everyone. Hopefully it won't be a whole year before my next Reiki video, and I am super happy you guys and gals all enjoyed it, so thank you. Do leave a like if you agree, and leave a dislike if you don't, although that used to be more fun when you could actually see them, so I don't really know if it has much of an effect anymore since you can't see them, since I don't go out of my way to check them, but maybe I will for this one. But regardless, I hope you all have a good day. I'll see you next time.